Hold my hand. Carrie, are you ready? No, that's what she's about. You're all on now. Right from the get-go. Yep. Oh, lovely. Drink and whistle. Just start yelling.
Nothing like starting half an hour late.
No, we're not. We're on time.
Oh. Welcome everybody today. If you're wondering who I am, I've been here probably longer than the majority of you, but some of us club people slip under the radar. And my introduction my name is Sue Chamberlain. I'm a life member at Albury Ski Club. And most of you wouldn't realise that Noelene and Bob, when they were in Albury, their first real introduction to Falls Creek was when they were day tripping up here. They would come and then stay at Albury Ski Club, and they eventually became members of Albury Ski Club. So it was a very, very great honour when Kerry asked me, would I MC today? She was fluttering around in Italy with her pearls on. And I noticed Trace has got the same pearls, twins. But no, it is a great honour to be able to talk to you all today. Marnie was asked, but she got the cold feet. We know Marnie loves a chat, like Noelene and I love a chat, but talking in front of people is a different issue. Yes, our Noelene and Bob came up here day tripping, and they helped when our original lodge got burnt down, and it was in 1958. And in 59 it was rebuilt, and they started staying more regularly. Bob became, well, there's a bit of controversy. The girls think Noelene joined first, Bob second. It was the other way around. But anyway, I came here in 1964, and that's when I first met Noelene. And it's never been a friendship where we've lived in each other's pockets, but when I came each year, I always made a point of trying to catch up with Noelene, but while there were little ankle biters around and managing lodges and building new ones, it was a bit hard to catch up at many times. But anyway, it's been a long association, and I'm very proud to be speaking to you all today. When I got the call from Kerry on the second week of October last year, my immediate words were, "What's happened to Noelene?" And I was really shocked to hear her say, "Noels was just admitted to the Albury-Wodonga Cancer Centre." I thought this was just another hiccup in Noelene's way, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. And I had the wonderful honour of being able to spend all but one day of the last 11 days visiting her in hospital. Her hospital.
They're not laughing at you.
That's good. Her hospital journey, her strength, determination, love of her family just blew me away on a daily basis. Not once did I hear her complain. She said from the get-go, "I'm not having any treatment. I've had a great life, and I just want to go quietly." Then when she had her little mini stroke, she could have had a little bit of help with that. No, it's my time. And she went another 3 days. So that's one very gutsy lady, was our Noels. And I learnt a lot in those few days about inner strength. And I will treasure and keep that powerful legacy of Noelene in my heart and mind forever. I started by thanking the family for the opportunity to MC today, but my endearing gratitude goes to Tracy and Kerry for allowing me that daily access to be with Noelene. We talked a bit of bullshit. We didn't always... in fact, we didn't talk about many serious things at all, because that's the way Noelene wanted it, and that was the way Noelene lived her life as well. All I can say at this stage... yes, at this stage is forever rest in peace, Noelene. You'll be sorely missed by many. Thank you. Now, I received an email from somebody that's known probably by majority here. The girls don't know, Steve doesn't know that this came into me. But it starts off by Noelene of NASTAR. Thank you, Noelene, for your management of the NASTAR course. In 1986, the brief was, Noels, give me a hand with a new dual slalom NASTAR course and I will give you Rudy Pendle. Rudy will set the course.
As assistant.
Rudy will set the course and all you have to do is time the races. Okay, said Rudy, a few words other than or saw, and Noelene, one of many words, the match was made. Noelene and Rudy set the course every day in a special location between Towers and Drover's Dream, an instant success the little dual slalom course would become. Noels was way overqualified for the NASTAR job as the only person in the world that knew all the FIS rules verbatim. And she could recite them to you too. The timing machine that was used on the NASTAR course was like a crystal set with a start wand and a finish beam. Much creativity was used by Noels to register time. Every racer was satisfied that their time, and we had very happy customers. The highlight of the season was the ski school ball race on the NASTAR course, and the majority of the ball attendees would race prior to the big night. A sideline, the first prize was a round-the-world business class trip with Qantas. All racers could win if they raced the draw was much made... a bit funny here. If they raced, the draw was made out of a hat and Sigrid Thornton was the barrel girl. Noelene, at the start, would ask the name and age of each racer. All very easy until Marnie was in the start and the answer to the question at the start was just young and fast. Vale, Noelene, Falls Creek has lost a true force of nature from Brad and Monica. And I might just add, for those of you who followed Brad's family over the years, darling Joni, his mum passed away about 6 weeks ago, very peacefully. Yeah. And now our next person to say some wonderful words is Noelene's sister, Kay, all the way from Sydney.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? I've had a run through of this, so hopefully it's all right.
I'll hold it for you.
Noelene, my dear sister, only sister. Firstly, I would like to thank you from my heart. So many of you have managed to make it here today and to the hospital. I know it gave her great joy when she saw you, and it was a terrific effort. Thanks very much from the rest of us. Terry, Tracy and I, even cousin Carol, who has driven me all the way from Sydney last couple of days, but who also worked at Atunga. So you might have met her, some of you. She's driven me round to know. One of us were with Noelene 24/7. Kerry and Tracy certainly did 99% of that vigil, but they certainly cared for me as well. And I'm so grateful, I still am. To tell you a little about childhood, Noel was also my big sister, funny about that, protecting me from a bully at school, St Catherine's, our old school, where she also went back to teach later on. She rescued me from numerous rivers when I was about to float downstream. I'm sure I didn't try to drown on purpose, but I think the practice helped her get her bronze medallion. She sat with me for hours. She was a maths person, going through algebra problems, not my thing, with my exam the next day. I'm sorry, I failed both her and the exam questions. Her skills were, of course, sporting. She became a phys ed teacher, and later she taught swimming. And maths were good. Her maths were good, and languages, mine. Totally different. I loved history and essay questions and that sort of thing, but that's me. Lying in our bedroom at night, we had two of us in there. She used to make up stories to tell me until I fell asleep. I think, thinking back, she must have got her storytelling gift from our grandfather, who was a very great storyteller. We don't know whether it was his life. We don't know whether it's true. I had a string of pearls. He told me he'd gathered them all on the northwest coast of Western Australia. Oh, yeah, well, baby, yeah. With the age gap, of course, the 4 years between us, we didn't have a lot in common as kids. Well, we just don't. Until we were both married with kids. Then we grew even closer. Maybe a coincidence. Australia's celebrating the King's birthday this weekend. Well, that was Nolene's birthday, 14th of December, and it's Charlie's too. So that's our connection to royalty. Where am I? Oh, yeah. As a favour to Noel and the Lee family for all Nolene's done for the village, helping to raise funds for the school and all that sort of thing, and work for the ski school, as you've been discussing, I was wondering if some of you might donate to the lovely clinic that Noelene was in Albury. I've got a bit of paper with the website on it if you feel that way inclined. There's so much more I could say, but other people want to speak. I leave you with this thought. When you love somebody, they never go away. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay. Now, Layla is unable to be with us today, so Totty or Jamie? Oh, right.
They don't need to see me. I'm not that good to look at, so. Oh, okay. Do you guys want to get up as well? So I'm not up here standing by myself. All right. So Layla had written. I don't know. I'm not good at English either. So written a speech for us all on behalf of the grandchildren. Obviously, she can't be here today. She's still feeling a little bit under the weather with a recent surgery. But she has written this for us, and I will say it. Read it, speak it, I don't know. Omar, this room represents the love our grandchildren had for this community and the love she earned in return. Whether she was volunteering at the museum, sitting at Fry's having a beer, or timekeeping at NASTAR, you knew she was always up for a chat. She was a storyteller, a history keeper, and a mum to many. The time and effort that she put into this village will be remembered for a long time, and we were so proud to be her grandchildren. She wanted to see the world, and she wanted to show us all it as often as she could. We've all had trips alone with Omar, each of their own hilarious memories. For her own 80th present, she took our entire family on a world trip. She wanted to have a real time with us, experience that we will have forever. I remember I remember telling her the boys in my race club group wouldn't let me ski up the front. She just asked me what I was doing at the back in the first place. She helped shape me into a strong woman, and she let me shape her mullet during the first lockdown, which I have now taken over the mantle of. An incredible person that is always going to leave a hole in places like this, but at least we know nothing was left unsaid. You will be missed, Omar. We love you.
Thank you for representing the grandchildren. Stephen, your turn. Not that you've ever been on a podium before. For the camera.
Yeah, I want to get up there.
No, but you need to come this way a bit for the camera. So if you turn around towards the camera.
Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for making the effort to come up. Knowles we are all very thankful, and as Mum would be chuffed. And she'd be over there at the bar holding a beer and a conversation, no doubt. But I think everyone in the room's probably had a beer and a conversation with Knowles. From my side of things, I want to thank everyone for making the effort to come up, and I want to thank Knowles for dragging herself out of a very cosy life in the eastern suburbs and somehow finding a way to Falls Creek, where she was certainly one of the true pioneers of this village and has left it in a great place. It's a fabulous place, and I don't know what... I asked her many times what was the attraction to snow, and she could never really explain it. It was just something that every time she saw a photo of it, and then at the early movie days in Sydney, there was trailers and there's one on St. Moritz with skiing, and something grabbed her and said, I've got to go and try that. So she somehow dragged herself down the eastern suburbs of Sydney, a very cosy, cushy life, and caught the train to Albury, got on some old World War II four-wheel drive bus that brought him up from Albury to, well, not quite to here, to Turnback Creek. And the driver said, that's as far as we go, you've got to walk from here. So she did, several times, and that would have probably stopped most people in their tracks, having to walk 7 k's from Turnback Creek. Imagine having a guest do that in this day and age. But yeah, she was a pioneer, and a pioneer of this place, one of the many, and what a great place it is. And so yeah, thanks to everyone for coming, and I thank Mum for her pioneering ways that set our life up, her kids and grandkids. Well done, Pat, for your words there. And yes, Lala's very sad she can't make it today, but she had a major sinus operation a week or so ago and ended up with an infection, so she's laid out down in Mount Beauty. But yeah, a loving family, and yeah, Mum and Dad love this place. Yeah, so Mum walked 7 k's from Turnback Creek, and I think the first time she stayed here was next door at Bogong Ski Club. And in those days there was no lifts, or maybe a rope tow or two. There's I think she learnt to ski in the bowl out here, and she just loved it, absolutely loved it, all the way through. She was still skiing in her 80s, late 80s, and pretty nicely too, I must say. She always said, I just want to look elegant. She looked elegant as a... Wasn't fast, but as long as she was elegant, that was good enough for her. So every time I'd see her, I'd always say, Mum, you're looking very elegant. She'd just grin and say, thank you, thank you. But we used to ski opening and closing weekends. So the last time I skied with Mum was around about closing weekend a couple of seasons ago. And she wouldn't, well, we had to virtually drag her out the door in the end, but for many years she wouldn't miss a chance to get out and ski, and travelled the world and skied many places, but somehow found this place in the late 50s and called it home, and we thank her for that. So thank you all, and thanks, Mum.
Thank you, Stephen. And next we have Kerry.
I've got a very wobbly stage up here, which is probably suitable for today. A few things have been said already, and I'll try to either skip through it or just go through what I'd prepared for Mum today. As we said, there's always going to be the same stories that we want to share. But as you heard, Mum was born 14th of November in 1933 in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, and to Eric and Effie. She is the eldest of the two daughters, and I am so pleased and surprised that Kay is not only here, or just Kay, as she is to us. Oh no, just Kay. Not only here to celebrate, but also shared those fantastic words, Kay. You two have more in common than you sometimes realise. And as she said, Carol, who's been with us all our lives and is amazing at helping Kay through this stage of hers. I think we've heard that first fateful college mate that said, "Do you want to come on a ski holiday with us?" "Fantastic," she said. "I've never been water skiing before." No, snow. "Gosh," she said, "that's even better." They stayed at varying places, including Grand Coeur. I believe they were there when it burnt down, and I think that was part of their introduction to some of the club and the community of Falls Creek that rallied around those sorts of situations. As we said, every chance she came and every long stint, she would come back to Falls Creek. And as Steve said, she loved telling us that she'd walk through ankle, knee-deep snow from Howman's, almost because of the timing of their holidays. They'd stay for their weeks, or however long they were, and then trudge through mud on the way back out. She thought there was an injustice to that. We heard she went on to teach both in Lithgow. Anyone that had a chat with her knows about the coal dust of Lithgow. And then back to St Cath's. And during that time is where she met our dad, Robert Arthur Lee, or Bob. Dad was a dedicated surf club boy, not a boat, and in fact a boatie with Maroubra Surf Club, I think it was. He had no interest in this place. Luckily, his interest in Mum was enough that he was willing to come here. And Mum I loved listening, and Mum would tell often of the pioneers here of Tony and Skippy St Elmo, to name just a few that are also rest in peace, that decided if they were going to keep Mum in this community, they better get him skiing. And they did, apparently, coming back from Mountain Else, before there was any backcountry stuff here, those guys were doing it then as part of it. Mum and Dad, being from Sydney, became members of Perisher, and so they did often weekend runs with good friends, Jackie and Frank Crosley. And I'm so thrilled, I saw him a minute ago, I'm so thrilled that Francis is here with us today. Our families were very entwined, and for those that have travelled distances, which is quite a few, I thank you all as well. But Falls did remain their main love. As we heard, they managed Ripperoo, they managed Albury, they did a stint in Wagga, then they got a site. It's where Attunga sits today. They didn't think they had much of a chance of getting that site. More importantly, when they got it, they didn't realise they only had 2 years to build. A big move for a policeman and a school teacher with a very young family at that time. But they got it, they managed to rally around, and in 98 it was built, and Attunga opened in 60. Sorry, probably got my dyslexia there. Attunga opened in 69. So they built in 68, opened in 69. And as we also heard during that time, they realised, we're here, we're committed. We need to build a primary school. They were instrumental with this community in building a school, which to my knowledge is now 51, or is it 52, whoever's in the room. There's many of the faces here today went to that school, as Mum was so instrumental in there. And as I say, including myself, but I only went for one day before it was a school, and that's definitely a story for another day. The strains of running that lodge and 3 young children did prove too much for Mum and Dad. They separated in 82. Mum got back here in 86 and continued her passion for snow. Falls Creek, the race club, this community, her friends, there were many of you, and of course, her growing family. Tracy's going to share some other stories, but I do just for a moment want to jump to the last weeks of Mum's life. She was an extraordinarily healthy woman. She didn't spend many days in hospital, or in fact even unwell. And she was so strong, as we've also heard in her last days. 10 days was the time she spent in Albury Wodonga Regional Cancer Centre, And a few times they had to say to us, hey, this is not a party joint. If you want to go, can you lot quieten down? And we're so blessed that so many of you were able to visit her. And the catch cry was, we know this should be a time for family, but we're family, aren't we? Yes, come on. And as we heard, she loved those of you that got there. So many more of you wanted to and couldn't, but called and wished her well. The last person, apart from immediate family, Mum heard from, and she was non-responsive by this stage, was her lifelong friend, John Johnson, and Tracy's godfather. And John, I'm hoping you're watching us with your family. I thank you, John, for the love you had of Mum and the help you gave her in those last moments of her life. It is overwhelming how many people's lives Mum touched, and we all stand here today due to that love for her. I will miss her, of course, every day, but I'm so grateful for the woman that she was and the incredible times we had together. Can we raise a glass for Noelene?
Okay, we're doing pretty well. Whew. Mum was always late, so we could go a couple of minutes late. It's okay. So, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Mum started making her village back here at college when, until she died 3 weeks shy of her 89th birthday, she was still in touch with at least 8 of her uni friends. PE must keep you fit. Remember that, guys. You got to keep healthy. When she moved to make her forever home, Falls Creek, way back in her early 20s, little did she know how far her arms would wrap. From the years at Atunga, the school, the race club, and everything in between, she helped make Falls Creek into the amazing village that we all enjoy today. When the dreaded first C hit, COVID, Mum was lucky enough to have been in Falls Creek for Easter. The decision to stay was the best she ever made. When our family changed for the first time for everyone in September 21, the community she loved gave it all back and some more. We thank you all for that time, as it made our lives so much easier, knowing that Knowles was being cared for by the village. Hold on. Sorry, Bev. I used to do that. Bev didn't like that. It was up my sleeve. Sorry. I can remember being hip and shouldered out of the way on New Year's Eve by the much younger men that helped Mum out of the car and onto the seat at the pizza oven. This was a great place she spent many Sunday or Friday nights over summer. You all had a part in making sure Mum got home from winter's nights out or just up the hill from the pizza oven in summer, and again, we thank you. When the next C hit, cancer, Mum drew on her strength to give again, letting the doctors know that they could keep all the blood and the medicine for someone that truly needed it. This helped end her life in dignity and shorten the pain for her and all of her family. To watch her slide away peacefully in the short time was a true blessing. The Albury Cancer Centre unit was amazing. The head nurse worked out very quickly Knowles was a very special person, asking if she was a rock star. They were amazed at how many people visited this 88-year-old in that short time. This was a testament to her and her life. I would like to thank all of you from our family for not raising the child in the village, but caring for one of the elders in the village. Thank you, Falls Creek community, for everything you did. Please enjoy some finger food. They'll hand it around if they can get through. You might have to line up like the canteen or something. The bar will be open tab for a little bit longer. When it gets too much, we'll just cut it off and you'll have to pay for yourself. Thanks, Damo and Lisa, for having us all here today. We really appreciate it. They don't have to set up for dinner, so there's no rush. We can enjoy long stories for the rest of the afternoon. So dry your eyes and have a drink for Mum, because she loved you all.